a little bit of gas, nothing like sparkling wine, okay? Just a little bit, okay? You will find a way. And he was also, there are little bits of codfish. You mix them with ingredients ahead of everyone. Have you heard about it, Mateus? It was the most sold wine in the Woodstock Festival, okay? In the middle, but you can already see the shapes of the troops. So it was very important for them to grow grapes, and they did it everywhere. They don't change the family. So we know that.
Good morning everybody, it's Jason here. It's the 28th of July and it is 9:45 in the morning and we're on our port wine tour and we're at the first stop here, which is Regua, which is in the Duoro Valley. We got up this morning about 6 o'clock. We got to the bus stop about 7:30 to get on for 8. And yeah, this is the first stop. Then we're going to go to a port producer, and then we're going to have lunch, and then we're going to go to another one. So yeah, it's going to be good. The bus that we're on today, nice big bus with 40 people on it, and a guide, very, very good he is, Ricardo. And so yeah, this is Regua. He's been giving us some really interesting information on the bus. Essentially we've come from Porto across the mountains and then into this valley. The Vino Verde that we've been drinking the last couple of nights is actually only produced on the other side of the mountains and on the Porto side, and that's made from a blend of a couple of different grape varieties, and it's only really available in Portugal. They don't really export it, and it's called green wine really because that part of the country is green more or less all the year. It's a lot cooler, it's misty as we've seen so far, and there's a lot of precipitation, so the countryside is green. This area that we've come to here, we've come through the mountains into an area which is much, much drier, much hotter. This valley in particular is very hot. 2 months of the year it can get up to between 40 and 50 degrees centigrade. That's really, really good for producing very high quality grapes, better quality than the Vino Verde grapes, which are only kind of medium quality. That temperature really helps produce a lot of sugars, which are perfect for making port, which is what this region is famous for. Also, some of the photos videos I've taken up until now, you'll see that there are terraces all over this valley. These terraces are very high regulated. They're not allowed to have fences or walls between the different farms. They use olive trees instead to demarcate between the different farms. They're not allowed to irrigate. Then water is all natural from aquifers underground, and it's really to do with the special geology of this area that there's water essentially underground all year long, even when it's really, really hot, which it is for at least a couple of months every summer. And this method of growing grapes on these steep-sided slopes in terraces dates right back to the Roman times. A lot of things in Europe do date right back to the Roman times, and this grape production is no exception. Essentially the Romans planted grapes and grew grapes wherever they could, partly because the wine ration was part of the way that they motivated their troops and helped them conquer more or less all of Europe. Even this area, which wasn't conquered by the Moors or Napoleon for that matter.
You are the best group I ever had in my
You put some sunscreen in the morning.
These barrels hold about 25,000 bottles of wine, about 21,000 litres. Made of various different materials, oak and beech and various things. So these are the stone tanks that they used to press the grapes in. They basically fill it up about knee height with grapes, and then they get a load of people in and they come and stomp on the grapes and release the juice from the fruits. They do that the first day, they do that the second day, and then they allow it to ferment. And if they're making port, they allow it to ferment until the alcohol content is about 6%. Then they drain it out of this tank, and then they put it in a tank further down in the other end of the room, and then they add alcohol to fortify the wine to between sort of 15 and 22%. If they're going to use it to make regular wine, they just let the fermentation continue until it's naturally complete. And then when they've got the grape skins and the seeds and everything like that, they take those out and they compress some extra wine from that in these hydraulic presses, and they can use that to make grappa or brandy. So the wine had been compressed in those tanks and the last of the juice scraped out. They used to, that room was above where those big oak barrels were, the big 20,000 litre oak barrels, and they would just drain the wine by gravity into those barrels and age them. For the different kinds of port, they'd age them for different lengths of time. Tawny port or vintage port or ruby port. This is the entrance to the main house, and this property, the vineyard and the house and the buildings, have been in the same family since the 16th century, about the mid-1500s. Some of these grapevines here are between about 80 to 100 years old, although most of the grapevines, the commercial ones, are between 20-25 years old. This is, I guess, one side elevation of the main house and gardens, which are modelled after the palace at Versailles in France. A smaller version, obviously. And at this vineyard, and in many in this region, they also plant roses and citrus, oranges and lemons. One of the reasons they do this is partly to attract bees, but also because these species of plants are affected by the same disease organisms as are the grapes. And it kind of acts as like an early warning system for if they're going to have some kind of disease outbreak. So if they see a disease that can affect grapes in the citrus, they know they've got 2 or 3 weeks before it hits the vines. If they see it in the roses, they just know they've just got 2 or 3 days before it hits the vines. I'm not quite sure what they do about it, whether they can use pesticides or anything like that, because everything they do here is controlled by the port wine authorities, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's very tightly controlled. Here you can see how they prune them. Presumably the harder they prune them, the fruit grows on the new wood. Each of these 90-degree angles, this is I don't think you can see it, this is one root, one stalk, and it goes up here and then there, and then the next one up here and then there, and then the new wood goes vertically straight up, and that's where the grapes are. They prune it really hard. It's getting pretty hot now. It's supposed to be 40, 42 degrees today. Not as humid as Antigua though.
To the size of the other side.
young, go to the ranch. I stay 1 year. The same fellow who lived 350 years more or less. Okay? On the front, on the and it's also really, some one is also really, only the other one is on the street. It's a private winery on the road.
Big smile, yeah.